Hey, welcome back, and this is a follow-up to the last tutorial I just did. So this picks up exactly where my last tutorial left off. I'll leave a link to that tutorial in the description. I just want to say I can't believe this is my 100th Unreal tutorial, and I appreciate everyone that subscribes to the channel. I plan to keep doing more of these for at least the better part of this year. I'll probably slow down once I get closer to 200. There's a lot of topics that I feel are important to cover. These tutorials are as much a note to myself as something I just put out there to help other people that might be going through the same thing. But I think in about another 100 I'll pretty much have covered everything that's important to cover. So today in this tutorial we're going to show you how to do the line tracing function to add it to the scattering tool so that all the objects are grounded even on an unlevel surface. It's not too hard to do, and I'll just go and show you. So this is kind of where we left off. This is my blueprint. It's basically on a construction script, and every time I move the position the scattering changes. The construction script is called every time there's a change in location. It's just a really cool effect, but I have to adjust the height now, and what I want is these, when I move all these objects to stay grounded on the surface, even if it's an uneven surface. So that's what we're going to do right now, and it shouldn't take very long. This is where we left off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just take this and scoot it over to the side like this to make some room for me. And then I'm going to press Alt, and I'm going to disconnect this, this, and this. And all the rest of this can stay. And so what we have to do is we're going to use something called a line trace. And you can think of a line trace as basically a 3D ping. So you know how like submarines have sonar and it sends a beam down to the ocean floor and then it returns a value and they can gauge things. Exactly the same thing what a line trace is, except it's in 3D space. It sends out a ping and then it gets a value back, and then we can use that for all different kinds of things. So we're just going to go line trace by channel, this one right here, and it's going to want a start point and an end point, and this works off of world space. Right now we're kind of in relative space, so we have to add our actor's location, which in our case is each individual's object, and we have to factor that in, kind of basically convert it to world space, and then convert it back to relative space. So we have to basically compensate for the randomness of our positions in the world space of the line trace. So anyway, how we're going to do that is just add in our actor's location and then subtract it back out. And so to do this, all I'm going to need is a thing called a make vector. Make vector right here, and then this is going to combine the three all into one. So I'm going to put x into x and y into y. And then we're going to need our actor's location. We're going to need to add it in and add it out. So I'm going to go get actor location. Oops. And we need two of these, so I'm going to hit Control D and I'll put it over here. And now we're going to add it in. So I'm just going to pull off of here and I'm going to search for an add operator right here. And I actually need two of them, so I'm going to hit Control D, and these are add vectors actually. So what we're going to do is I'm going to plug in my actor's location, which is each individual cube, and that's going to be our start location. Endpoint is going to be where I want the ray trace to end up. So I want the ray trace to start with my actor's location, and I want it to end. I can choose it to be anything, so I'll plug this in here. And I'll say we want to shoot a ray straight down. Let's say, I don't think we're very far off the ground, so maybe 500 units. And then that's going to be our endpoint right here. Then it's going to do its calculation and send back a ping to us, a value. And then we just need to subtract out our actor's location. So one thing I don't want to forget to do is wire up these exec pins so the program runs. And then what I need to do is come over here where it says out hit and split that, because we just want this one that says out hit location. And then we're just going to go subtract, and then we're going to subtract the actor's location. Just take it back out This converts us back to relative space. And now because we're in a vector, I'm going to right click here and can recombine those all into a struct pin and just plug that into there. And that's it. That's how this will allow us to ground all the objects now, and I don't have to adjust the height. So that didn't take too long, did it? So I'll hit that, come back in here. And now you notice when I drag this, see how they're all staying to the ground? So I can go ahead and delete this one. I'll just drag in a new one. Should be able to delete that. Can I delete that? Yep. And so let me drag in a new one. And now it has no values in it, so here I can set, let's say I want 20 this time, and see how they're all jumbled together, but they're all bound to the ground. That sounds funny. Bound to the ground. And what I can do is if I scatter them, just hit 500, and now they're all scattered, but look, they're all bound to the ground, to the surface. So even if you have an uneven surface now, none of them will be fully buried. They'll be all based to the ground. And that's all I had. So thanks a lot again. I really appreciate anyone that watches and subscribes, and I hope to keep producing good, helpful information for you. Take care and have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.